Love did not enter her life with grand promises or dramatic gestures. It arrived quietly, almost unnoticed at first. At a time when her heart had learned to expect disappointment, his kindness stood out precisely because it asked for nothing in return. He did not question her sadness or demand explanations. Instead, he offered simple warmth, the kind that gently wraps around you when you least expect it. His presence felt like a pause in her overwhelming thoughts, a moment where the world stopped asking her to be strong. He showed care in the smallest ways, ways that could easily be overlooked by someone searching for loud affection. Remembering how she liked her coffee, noticing when her smile didn't quite reach her eyes, offering silence instead of advice. These moments slowly chipped away at the walls she had built around her heart. He never pushed her to open up, never treated her pain like a problem that needed solving. He understood that sometimes love means standing beside someone without trying to lead them anywhere. What made his kindness so powerful was its consistency. Day after day, he showed up with the same gentle patience, creating a sense of safety she hadn't felt in a long time. She began to realize that his attention wasn't temporary or driven by obligation. It was genuine. In a world where she had felt invisible, his quiet awareness made her feel seen without being exposed. That balance, being noticed without being pressured, allowed her to slowly lower her guard. She had grown used to people offering care only when it was convenient or expecting something in return. His kindness was different. It did not come with conditions or expectations. He didn't rush intimacy or demand emotional vulnerability before she was ready. He respected her pace, letting her emotions unfold naturally. This gentleness helped her rediscover trust, something she had almost forgotten how to give. Over time, his quiet actions spoke louder than words. He stayed present on days when she was withdrawn, offering a calm space instead of forcing conversation. On better days, he shared her smiles without questioning their source. He accepted her as she was in each moment, understanding that healing isn't linear and that love doesn't require perfection. Through this, she learned that affection doesn't have to be overwhelming to be meaningful. His kindness became a steady rhythm in her life, grounding her when her thoughts felt chaotic. It reminded her that love can exist without urgency, that care doesn't need to be announced to be real. Slowly, the heaviness she carried began to feel lighter, not because her problems disappeared, but because she no longer felt alone while carrying them. In this gentle way, love found her again, not through dramatic rescues or passionate declarations, but through consistent compassion and quiet understanding. His kindness showed her that sometimes the deepest love speaks in whispers, arriving softly and staying long enough to heal what was broken. Healing did not come from perfect words or grand solutions. It came from his presence, steady and unchanging, even when everything inside her felt fragile. He never tried to rescue her from her pain or rush her toward happiness. Instead, he chose to sit with her in moments when sadness felt overwhelming, offering silent companionship that spoke louder than any advice ever could. His willingness to stay, even when there was nothing to fix, allowed her to breathe more freely for the first time in a long while. When she struggled to speak, he didn't fill the silence with questions. He understood that pain often needs space rather than explanations. There were moments when tears formed in her eyes without warning, and instead of looking away or trying to stop them, he remained calm, letting her feel without judgment. That acceptance taught her that vulnerability wasn't something to be ashamed of. Being seen in her brokenness and still being accepted became a powerful step in her healing. He listened with his whole attention, not interrupting, not rushing her toward conclusions. When she shared fragments of her story, he treated them with care, as if they were something precious rather than burdensome. His listening wasn't passive, it was intentional and compassionate. It showed her that her experiences mattered, even if they were messy and unfinished. Through this, she learned that healing doesn't require having everything figured out. It only requires someone willing to understand. There were days when she felt distant, when old wounds resurfaced and pulled her back into doubt. On those days, he didn't take her withdrawal personally. He stayed patient, reminding her through small gestures that she wasn't a problem to be solved. His consistency became a quiet promise that he wouldn't disappear when things became difficult. That reliability slowly rebuilt her sense of safety, something she had lost long before meeting him. By choosing presence over perfection, he allowed her to heal at her own pace. He didn't pressure her to be strong or positive. He gave her permission to be tired, confused, and uncertain. In doing so, he created an environment where healing felt natural rather than forced. Love stopped feeling like something she had to earn and started feeling like something she was allowed to receive. Over time, his steady presence began to change the way she viewed herself. She started believing that her pain did not make her unlovable. The fear of being abandoned in her weakest moments slowly faded as she saw that he remained, not because he had to, but because he wanted to. This realization became the foundation of her healing. Through his quiet support, she learned that sometimes the most powerful form of love is simply staying. Not fixing, not rescuing, not changing, but being there consistently and sincerely, allowing the heart the time and space it needs to heal. Love transformed into a safe place, not because everything suddenly became perfect, but because it stopped feeling uncertain. With him, she no longer felt the need to hide her pain or pretend she was stronger than she truly was. His presence created a sense of calm that allowed her heart to rest, something she hadn't experienced in a long time. Around him, she felt accepted in every version of herself, the hopeful, the broken, the healing, and the unsure. That acceptance became the foundation of their connection. He never made her feel like her emotions were too much. When she felt overwhelmed, he didn't withdraw or grow distant. Instead, he stayed close, offering reassurance through gentle words and quiet gestures. This consistency taught her that love didn't have to be unpredictable or conditional. It could be steady and reliable, something she could lean on without fear of it disappearing. Slowly, her anxiety about being abandoned began to fade. Being with him felt like finding shelter after a long storm. She could finally lower her guard, knowing she didn't have to protect her heart alone anymore. The conversations they shared were honest and unforced, filled with understanding rather than expectation. Even silence between them felt comfortable, no longer heavy or awkward. In those moments, she realized that love wasn't about constant excitement or grand declarations. It was about peace. As trust grew, she began to see herself differently. The way he valued her made her question the harsh judgments she had placed on herself for so long. She started believing that she deserved kindness and affection, not because she had healed completely, but because she was human. His love didn't demand that she be whole before being loved. It embraced her while she was still becoming whole. Their bond developed slowly, like something carefully nurtured rather than rushed. He respected her boundaries and never pressured her to move faster than she was ready for. That patience deepened her trust even more. She learned that real love does not push, it waits, understands, and grows alongside you. Through this, she found the courage to open her heart again, knowing it would be met with care rather than harm. In his presence, love stopped feeling like a risk and started feeling like a refuge. It became a place where she could be honest without fear, vulnerable without shame, and hopeful without hesitation. This sense of safety allowed her to dream again, to imagine a future where love wasn't something that hurt but something that healed. What began as quiet kindness evolved into a bond rooted in trust, comfort, and emotional security. Love, once a source of fear and disappointment, became a steady place of warmth and reassurance. And in that safety, her heart finally found the peace it had been searching for.